Welcome to Warblog. This is the first of a series of narrative talks based on general reading. So this is not an overview of a game. This is going to be a new section. Basically, I'm going to just be reading from a book, and then maybe sort of looking at games and talking about things, etc. Essentially, the book is, well, it's an extract from a book. Essentially, I have a book here called Combat Studies, Modern Military Thought, Combat Study from the Combat Studies Institute, course A651. And I've had this book for a while. I've read bits and pieces of it, and I'm not going to be reading that book. I'm going to be reading one section, but it's an interesting book because it's like a military piece of course material in which whoever compiled it has essentially photocopied various articles. For example, worked from Little Heart, Mao Tae-sung as a strategist, the strategy of General Giap since 1964, excerpts from The Art of War, and I mean, the thing is, some of the pages are even sort of the wrong way around, and double-sided. Obviously, I can't show you, but the point is, it's a purely functional piece of work. And what I'm going to read is from it's called Reading F on Strategy in General. So this is a book just on strategy, which I find quite interesting. And the thing to bear in mind is I've not read this through. I've read bits of it, and I thought, well, this is interesting. And so I'm going to formalise the reading by doing it on video with this as a sort of backdrop, and my own comments and observations, just as sort of an interesting narrative, really, in case you're interested in that sort of thing. But it's on strategy in general by Carl Von Clausewitz. Now, what I'm assuming is that it's actually quite a famous piece of work, and some people might already be familiar with it. So this introductory video is going to be an introductory video, essentially, and if I can, I'm going to sort of use some of these maps, but obviously this is more probably going to be a one of those, what do you call them when you listen to it, as opposed to a video. What do you call them? I don't know. They're pretty popular. Anyway, this introductory one, I'm going to read out the first paragraph, essentially, and give you an overview of the chapters involved. So, On Strategy in General is the title of Book 3 of On War. Here, Clausewitz explores the meaning of strategy as well as military genius. He writes that everything in strategy is very simple, but that does not mean that everything is very easy. Clausewitz examines the moral elements of combat, boldness, perseverance, and surprise. The very brief chapter, Economy of Force, reveals that Clausewitz's rejection of the idea that a theory of war can rest on a body of principles of near universal application does not prevent him from including those principles in his own theory. Using historical examples, Clausewitz examines the suspension of action in war and the dynamic nature of the changes between tension and rest in war. So that's the introduction. The one thing maybe point out is, and I haven't really actually got this far yet, but I think this whole thing, Clausewitz, is actually quite old, in the sense that, and I really don't want to sort of maybe hazard a guess, but I will just guess blindly, from the Napoleonic period. I think he's talking more about, there's references here to the campaign of 1760. So this is not modern warfare. He's talking about Frederick the Great. So in the examples that he uses, he talks about the occupation of Bonaparte's capital in 1814 and the objective, that achieved. But the point is, he's talking really about strategy as a concept, and I think, and it's my thoughts from what I've read, is that there's no difference between then and now. So essentially, that's pretty much not so much the end of it, but I'm going to go through the chapters. So the first chapter is on strategy, and that's going to be quite a long one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages to read out there. So that's going to be the next one. That's going to be quite long. The next one is elements of strategy. That's just 1 page. Morale factors. That's 2 pages. The principal morale elements. That's 1 page. Military virtues of the army. That's 3 pages. Boldness, which is 3 pages. Perseverance, 1 page. Superiority of numbers, that's 4 pages. Surprise, which is 4 pages. Cunning, which is 2 pages. Concentration of forces in space, that's 1 page. Unification of forces in time, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. The strategic reserve, that's 2 pages. Economy of force, 1 page. The geometrical factor, 2 pages. The suspension of action in war, that's 4 pages. The character of contemporary warfare, 1 page. Tension and rest, 2 pages. And that's the lot. And I'm not sure whether I'm even going to get through all of that, but I thought I'd give it a go because it's of interest to me. And I just want to sort of I want to do the exercise mentally, on video, because it suits a number of purposes. Gives me more content, but also possibly something that I can listen to, because I do read my own videos, and watch my own videos, and listen to my own videos in particular, quite a lot really. It's one of the things that sort of gives me ideas for how to take things forward. So I'm going to see how this works. I'm not even sure how long it will take me to read, and how my reading will come across. I'm not really going to sort of try and practice my narrative skills, so to speak. It's not really a form of entertainment. It's really going to be sort of reading through things and then maybe pausing and sort of saying, well, how does that work in examples from Warblog? For example, maybe trying to identify battles, or look at where the things that we're reading actually match some of the situations that we've covered on the site. So that's that. So this is the first video. Look out for subsequent videos.